up, kids? This is Mr. Bickford bringing you Chapter 3, Lesson 7. Before we get started today, just want to tell you that there's two more lessons in Chapter 3, Lesson 7, Lesson 8, and then we will do some kind of review. But the end of the chapter is getting close, so you should really start reviewing your notes, all your notes for Chapter 3, Lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rewatching any lessons that you don't understand or just want to rewatch to refresh what happened in previous lessons. Also, another great way to practice is get on ConnectEd and go into previous lesson self-check quizzes. Gives you some practice problems, and it will tell you if you get your answers right, so you get some automatic feedback. Okay, let's get started. Actually, before we start, just want to remind you that grid paper is a great way to keep things neat, organized, and lined up, which is really important when we're dividing. In fact, I did all my work for this lesson on grid paper, and you'll see that example in class. The first problem we're going to solve is this. Find 7.5 divided by 3. So we're going to follow the steps for long dividing, and in a previous lesson we learned that if your division problem is written this way, 7.5 divided by 3, 7.5 is always, the first number is always going to go on the inside if you are setting it up to long divide. In other words, if I'm setting it up to long divide, I want 7.5 on the inside. The 3 goes there. So now my steps are going to be, we've talked about these steps in the skills test. The steps are divide. The steps to long divide are divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. And then you should draw an arrow back up to divide. You just start the whole, it's like a loop. After you bring down the next number, you go back to the top and just start over. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. Over and over. If you have a decimal number divided by a whole number, you have to get the decimal in the right place. The decimal goes straight up in your answer, and that's why it's really important to keep things lined up, neat, and organized. So in my answer, my decimal point just moves straight up. And in my answer, decimal point is going to be right there. After I move the decimal point straight up, I can pretend like it's not even there. I can practice or just solve 75 divided by 3 is what I'm trying to solve. Happens to have a decimal point there, but I can ignore it. So now I'm going to follow these steps, and I'm going to look at one number at a time. I'm going to divide. How many times does 3 go into 7? Oh, excuse me. That's the divide step. How many 3's go into 7? The answer is 2. The multiply step is what you wrote here times this number. What's 2 times 3? That's 6. I've done divide, multiply, now I'm going to subtract. 7 take away 6 is 1. The check is after you've subtracted, is this smaller than your divisor, the number out here? It is. If it wasn't, something's wrong, you've made a mistake, back up. But since it is, I can go to the next step, which is bring down. Now I'm going to go back to the top, and I'm going to divide. How many 3's fit into, now my number is 15. How many 3's fit into 15? The answer is 5. Multiply, 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract, 15 take away 15 is 0. Check. Is 0 smaller than 3? It is. I don't have any more numbers to bring down. There's my answer. How many times does 3 fit into 7.5? 2.5 times is the answer. Okay, let's do one more example. Next example. Solve 9.48 divided by 15. Again, we've learned this in a previous lesson. The dividend, this number out here, divided by 15, if we're going to rewrite it for long division, it's going to look like this. 9.48 divided by 15. So even though this is a 2-digit number, the process does not change at all. My decimal point goes straight up in my answer. From the dividend, straight up into the answer, and my decimal point is going to go right there. Now I'm going to divide pretending it's not even there. I'm pretending that it's 948 divided by 15. And I'm going to look at it one number at a time. How many 15s fit into 9? Doesn't, so none. So I'm going to put a 0 here. Then I'm going to look at 94. How many times does 15 fit into 94? Well, got to skip count by 15s, use your multiplication table. If I look at my 15s, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, that's as many it can fit, and that is 6 15s. So I'm going to put a 6 right here. That's the divide step, going right down these. Divide, how many 15s go into 94? 6. Multiply, 6 times 15 is 90. Next step is subtract. What's 94? Take away 90. I get 4. Check. Check step. Is 4 smaller than the divisor? It is. Next step is bring down. Back to the top. Divide. How many times does 15 fit into 48? I can look at my 15 row, see that it fits 3 times. I'm going to write a 3. That was the divide. Multiply. 3 times 15 is 45. Subtract, and we get 3. Check. Is 3 smaller than 15? It sure is. So I can bring down. I don't have any more numbers to bring down. However, here's the decimal point. If you go to the very end of a decimal, you can add as many zeros as you want. You're not changing the value at all. 9.48 is the same thing as 9.480. In fact, I could add 100 more zeros if I wanted to. It's not going to change the amount. To the very far right of a decimal, that's the only time you can do that, adding the zeros and not changing the amount. But here's my decimal. To the very far right, I can add as many zeros as I want and keep dividing. So I'm going to do that because I do have a 3 left over, and what I'm looking for is the decimal to either end or repeat. And I'm adding that 0. I'm going to bring it down. Now I'm back to divide. How many times does 15 go into 30? 2 times. Multiply. 2 times 15 is 30. Subtract. 30 take away 30 is 0. Check. Is 0 smaller than 15? Yes. I don't have anything left. I don't need to add another 0 and keep dividing. It would just wind up being zeros. So my answer is 0.632. How many times does 15 fit into 9.48? So What was different about this problem is we added this 0. You can add as many zeros to the very far right of a decimal that you want. And again, you're looking for the decimal to either terminate, finish with nothing left over, or you might find that the decimal starts to repeat. All right, that is it for lesson 7, divide decimals by whole numbers. I know that many of you are getting very good at long dividing. If you need to back up this video or pause it, go through it step by step. As always, ask. Take action. If you don't understand, doing nothing is going to get you nothing. All right, here is the mystery, the hidden treasure puzzle. It's a mystery number. Here are the clues. They are, I am a mystery number. Okay, so it's a number, and here are the clues. It has to meet all the clues. I am a 2-digit number. Next clue, I only have even digits. Next clue, my sum, or the sum of the digits, is 10. The last clue is the digit in the tens place is 6 times more than the digit in the ones place. Who am I? What mystery number meets all those clues? Again, you can back it up, listen to the clues again, but the mystery number has to meet all those clues. If you have that ready on the next lesson, you could win the mystery treasure. And stay tuned for your assignment pages in class. I'll see you next time on lesson 8.